Okay, so welcome today to our public speaking virtual boardroom that's been facilitated by HR Recruit and Penny Wood. My name's Jo Thompson and I'm a consultant for HR Recruit. I'm joined today by Penny, who will introduce herself shortly. Penny is going to explain how to structure a speech, how to craft a powerful message, and how to deliver a speech with confidence. If you've got any questions or comments during the session, then please put them into the chat box facility and we will cover them as we go along. I'm now going to hand you over to Penny, who will introduce herself and start the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Jo, and welcome everybody. Good to see you here today on a Tuesday. I'm in Exeter in Devon, and it's kind of grey, cloudy, been like that for weeks, hasn't it? But you're in the right place if you want to learn how to become a confident, empowering speaker. Now, there's a lot going on at the moment in terms of public speaking. Now, some of you, you might have concerns around when you speak in front of people, all those eyes. When I speak to people, they go, oh yeah, I can't stand it when everyone's looking at me. They get anxiety around it, or they get real nerves before they start, or sometimes people go blank. That's actually happened to me once before when I was in New York and I was standing up in front of a group of people and I literally went blank. So there are lots and lots of issues that are concerning us all with public speaking. But whether your fear of public speaking kind of grips you, or you've got an upcoming presentation, I hope that you're not looking forward, maybe you're not looking forward to it. Well, don't worry. Well done for being live and showing up today, because you're going to get lots of tips and tricks around the mastery of public speaking. Now, let me do some housekeeping. Jo has put my workbook in the chat. You'll see that in the top of the chat there. So please download that. If you haven't got it, don't worry. You just need a piece of paper and pen. The webinar is going to go on till 1:30. Questions, if you want to ask questions, please ask as we go. We can either put them in the chat and Jo can let me know, or please feel free to come off mute if that works for you. And just to be fully transparent, at the end of the call, I'm going to be inviting you to see if you want to work with me. So, and I look forward to that. And the last thing is your focus. I want you to, this is your time to develop yourself. So, shut the door, put the dog out, just turn your phone over so you're not even looking at it, and just really focus on the next hour, because this is a session for you. And I really want you to, get everything from it. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about for myself, for those of you who've never seen me before. So I'm a business leadership success coach, and I help business leaders take bold action. I'm all about big, bold action, because that's what delivers next level success. And I do that through 3 strands of my business. I do it through executive coaching, leadership development, and public speaking coaching. That's why I'm here with you today. And I'm based in Exeter. You can see I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. That is not a person in a red coat, for those of you who think about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a not-for-profit public speaking and leadership organization. And I joined Toastmasters when I was working in New York. I became president of my club, took it to the highest level that it could get, and worked myself through their educational qualification. I'm also a fellow of the Institute of Leadership, and recently, I haven't announced it yet, but you can see that here today, I've recently just become a chartered manager with the Chartered Management Institute. So a lot of things been going on for me. And, when you speak in person, I know what it feels like to walk up on that stage, to come into a virtual space like this. I understand all those anxieties, your fears, all those things, because I've been through it myself. And so I've got a lot of public speaking experience, and I'm 100% committed to developing leaders like yourself. So I'm really looking forward to today. Now, some quick housekeeping. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. There is that workbook. And there is going to be some interaction. Just to let you know, I'll talk to you about that a little bit later on. That bit won't be recorded, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And yeah, that I think we're ready to get going. So let me ask you, feel free to put your comments in the chat, or you can come off mute. What's the first thing that comes into your head when you think about public speaking? Dread. Yeah. Horror. Oh, wow. Preparation. Yeah. Panic. Yeah. What's my message? Yeah. Nerves, anxiety, fear. Gosh, yeah. Not blank, going blank, keeping their attention. Yeah. Not being engaged. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. What's that? Stop saying it's very difficult. It's very difficult not to say and one of the reasons we say is because we're trying to think about the next point. So yeah, I totally get that. Wolfing, getting too much detail, forgetting words, stuttering, rushing through, audience getting bored. Yeah, making a script. Yeah, there's lots and lots and lots of things there. And thank you for that. And that fear, how it manifests, it can manifest in all sorts of ways. We get anxiety before we're going, as soon as somebody even asks us, we get anxiety. That you get that knot in your stomach, that knot, you blush, you get a dry mouth, you can't swallow, we sweat, we get sweaty palms. That's a very common thing I know that people get. And we worry that we're not going to we're not going to remember everything that we've got to say. And these things, all these different things, they can be really debilitating for some people. And at a primal level, that fear can be so great because there's that feeling of embarrassment. I've failed, I've gone wrong. You're rejected, judged by your peers, your family members, or whoever's in that audience. So I know what it feels like, and I know, but you can get over it. The good news is you can overcome all those fears and become a confident, empowering speaker, and you can enjoy it as well. I absolutely love speaking in public now. And if I'm not doing it, I do it almost every day. And if I'm not doing it, I kind of miss it. So for all of you out there who got that fear and that anxiety, don't worry, you can overcome it. And today I'm going to share with you my tools and techniques on how to build a speech with confidence, because a lot of people forget about that part. It's going to be an interactive session, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to participate. So I'm giving you all a heads up now, right? For those of you who love to get involved, I can't wait. And for those of you who are like cringing and going, all right, I'm running already, please don't, just stay here. And don't worry, I'll look after you. Okay. So let's look at some of the benefits and the importance of speaking in public. It's a key skill of today's business environment. If you want to progress your career, in order to stand out, you've got to be good at it. And as you move through your career, you've got to be able to communicate effectively. I was only speaking to a lady yesterday who said, I really want to go for this promotion, but inside the role, I've seen there's going to be shed loads of presenting, and I've got real fear around it. And it's how, and I don't want that to stop people. I don't want it to stop you with you. You've got to be able to communicate effectively with your team, your clients. And when you represent a company, a lot of the people I work with, I've worked in the last couple of years, I've worked with a lot of software developers, and they then have to go in and be client facing. And it's that fear that they have in doing a demonstration. So it's a skill that you can't really avoid. And once you master it, it helps you build your confidence. When you're able to communicate information with real clarity, and your audience, they become more receptive and they become more responsive. And it really does help to build your confidence. The other thing it does is it promotes you as a leader. I'm going to talk to you about that. I've got quite a few stories to share with you about that. Because once you've built that confidence, people's perception of you changes. And I have seen that happen. and it also can change the trajectory of your career as well. So it is a really important skill. Now, in terms of speeches, they normally fit into three categories. Informative, now that's where you're sharing knowledge on a specific topic. It might be giving a project update, for example, where you're presenting statistics, information, project progress. Or you could be asked to speak as an industry specialist. So that's the informative type of speech. Then there's the persuasive speech. That's where you're convincing your audience to take action or change their views or consider a decision. So, for example, you might have a new office where you're moving into, and there are lots of different ways of working that are going to be happening. You may be working in neighborhoods instead of teams. So it's how you communicate all that information and persuade those people that the new office they're going to be moving into is going to be great, and here are all the different opportunities. The last one is an entertaining speech. Now, I don't know whether many of you would use that inside your workplace. It's less likely for businesses, but don't forget the skills you're going to learn today. You can also use them for birthdays, after dinner speaking, weddings, funerals. Lots of people come to me, especially for funerals, actually, when they realize they've got a eulogy to give, and they don't really know how to structure it, and the intricacies and the moments that they really want to capture there. So there are three different types of speeches: informative, persuasive, and entertaining. And you guys, the majority of you will probably be using informing and persuasive. Okay. Now, there's no point in just listening, because you've got to build your confidence in public speaking. Okay, you've got to get out of your comfort zone, and you've got to do it. I'm working with somebody at the moment, and we're building up to it, but it's getting out there. And what I encourage people to do is build up with small audiences, groups you can trust, get bigger groups, larger groups, different types of groups. Sometimes I tell people to say it's a rehearsal speech so that they get that confidence, but you've got to get out there and do it. Okay. So I'm going to help you prepare for that today. So I've put together an exercise for us to do together. I'm going to take you through my 5-step process on how to build a speech so you can build your confidence, because you've got a framework, okay, to support you, where you can use it to take you through the different processes. It's only the start of the journey, though, and you're only going to get a taste of what I do today, okay, just because it's only 45 minutes to an hour. But you're going to get the opportunity to build a 1 to 2 minute speech yourself from scratch right now, and some of you will get the opportunity to deliver it. But the idea is, once you learn how to structure a speech using the template that I've provided, and you use the principles, you can learn to create that speech in your business, then you can just rinse and repeat. So I'm hoping you're going to get a lot of tips from it. Joe's put the workbook in the chat, but if you haven't got it, don't worry. I've got snippets of it coming up, so don't worry. So for the purpose of the exercise, I want you to think of something really easy to talk about in your speech idea, something that you know about. I don't want it to be work related, okay? You could tell us something about yourself. And I've put some examples in there. Don't overthink it. Just write down what immediately comes to mind. So if it's informative, it might be talking about lack of sleep and what the long-term effects are. How to use LinkedIn effectively, what works, have you got any top tips? Maybe there's secret gems of, if it was me, I could do the secret gems of Exeter, where I live. Maybe where you live, there's an amazing secret gem that you want to share with people. If it's a persuasive one, maybe you've been on holiday to an amazing place and, you want to share that with people. Or, the subject there, should tipping for service be banned? Quite interesting. And another one there, why shouldn't we have an additional bank holiday, for example, Services Day? So make it easy, light and fun. Okay, I don't want you to get serious with this. If you decide to do an entertaining speech, it could be your commute to work. When I was in New York, I used to get the bus right up on the east side, right up to the UN where I was working, and the amazing, honestly, the stories of what happened on that bus route. I can't tell you, unbelievable things happened, and I created a speech around that. So you might even talk about food. Have got obsessions about food. Look at TikTok. People have all sorts of things that they're passionate about. But think of it as something fun. So I want you to start writing it down. I want you to start writing your idea down in the box at the bottom there. Think about the context of your speech. Okay, so now you've got your idea. I want you to think about the context. Oh, it's like painting a picture. It's like opening a movie. So, what is your speech about? Who is it about? I want you to start writing this down. So, what is it about? And who is it about? When's it happening? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the sunrise? Where are the stories located? It could be inside an office. It could be on a ship. It could be, there could be all sorts of different things. Think about the locations. Why is whatever it is happening? And how is it happening? I want you to think about all those different ideas because they're going to help you when we put all the different points together. And then the last thing at the bottom, and this is the biggie, what's your message? Now, it's one of the first things I say to people when they work with me is, right, what's your message? What's it about? Why do I want to know? Why do I care? So I want you to think about your message. Okay. Now, this is a structure that I created, and I use it a lot with my clients when they've got a speech to deliver and they just don't know where to start, because it helps bring clarity about what you want to say, when you want to say it, helps you build it really quickly. And speech delivery is a bigger topic, and I'm not going to concentrate on that a lot today because we've got a short period of time. But this exercise will really help you to get going and knowing where to start. So let's look at the first thing, which is around that message. Now, I want you, when you think about that message, it needs to be short, concise, and between 3 and 10 words. Now, I challenge people to get it down to 3 words, and it's hard, right? It's not easy, but if you can. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to give you one with 9 words, okay? Boracay, one of the best beaches in the world. Very easy message, that, isn't it? It's a beach. It's one of the best in the world. Or I could just do one word, Boracay. Now that could confuse people. They might be, well, what's that mean? Where's that? Is it a thing? Is it a place? Now, for your information, it's a beautiful beach in the Philippines that I went to a couple of years ago when I was working around the world. And so I just want you to think about that message and write down what that message is in that top box. The next step I want you to do is your strong opening and your introduction. Now, I don't want anybody who's been coached by me, they do not ever say, hello, my name's Penny, and today I'm going to talk to you about Boracay Beach in the Philippines. Right? I mean, how many times do you hear that? And I've fallen asleep before they've even said the title. I do not want any of you to open your speeches like that. You've got to make an impact. I want you to, ask a question, use a quote. In the construction industry, Churchill had a great quote, and it was, we shape our buildings and thereafter they shape us. Now that's a really intriguing opening statement. Think about that. If you've got, let me give you some questions you can ask. Have you ever wondered? Did you know? You could ask a polling question. How many of you have? So I want you to make it interesting so that people are kind of intrigued right at the beginning and they don't really know what you're going to talk about. You can use a rhetorical question, and that's you asked merely for the effect to make a point, and it's not to get an answer. Okay, so it could be the Severn Bridge near Bristol. For any of you who are in that part of the world, they closed their toll, right? So you don't have to pay anymore to get across the bridge. So it could be a question like, "What's the deal with the Severn Bridge toll closing?" And then you literally, you might be talking about the benefits and whatever it is. I've got another one for you. Will we win the contract? Is the sky blue? Or you can ask a what if question. What if is a great way to open a speech. What if every employee in our organization could work from home from 2025? No, who knows if that's going to happen, right? But can you see the impact of asking a question when you open instead of, hello, my name's Penny, I'm going to talk about Boracay Beach today. It just gets right away from it. So I want you to think about how you're going to open it and have some fun with it. Today is just about practicing, but these principles I want you to use with your business presentations. Now, the body of your speech. Now, this is the main thing here is the thing that I tell people is tell a story, make a point. So I always have what's the story on the left and what's the point in the middle. And then how are you going to include your message? Because your message is going to weave in at every single point of your speech and you're going to repeat it. It's Craig Valentine, who's a world champion of public speaking, calls it your foundational phrase and how you weave it throughout your speech. So I want you to think now in a 2-minute speech, you'd be lucky to get 2 or 3 points. You might have about 30 seconds for each point. So think about that. I don't want it to be too long. Now, the main thing that I do when I'm coaching people is they give me a speech that's this long and it ends up being this long. Try not to put too much into it. So, for example, if I was going to tell you about that beach being the top 9 in the world, I might just talk to you about the experiences that I had on there and the fact that, they had to shut it down because all the pipe work was really old. It was, it was causing them a lot of problems. There were too many people going to the beach because it was so popular. So, and I might just have a couple of points there. So don't overcrowd your speech. If you're doing, say, a 10-minute speech, that would be about 2 minutes a point. Now, 2 minutes isn't long, and people just always put too much into it. So I want you to think about that. Let's think about you can use locations as metaphors. So you can use things like when I lived in New York, I would talk about when I left the office. I might just talk about my journey. And when I left my apartment, I lived across a pizza place called Artichoke Pizza, and it was 24/7, literally. And I always had that smell of the artichoke pizza as soon as I left my door. And as I walked down the road, I could smell the fresh coffee in the morning. I want you to think about those descriptive smells, senses, feelings. You can use metaphors like, let me give you an example here. Champagne, it can be flat or fizzy, but my mum had plenty of fizz. Can you see that? How you can play with the words. Now, some of these techniques are a little bit advanced. If you don't, I don't want you to worry about them today. I just want you to know about them. All right. Another thing that I want you to think about for your stories is create characters, create places, let people know where you are. If it's Exeter's in the southwest UK, it's about 4 hours west of London. Loads of people won't know where Exeter is. They've never heard of it. So you want to make sure that you have that detail. Now I'm going to move on and let me see how I'm doing. Yep, good. To the conclusion. Now you must have a conclusion. And the way I describe a conclusion is think about waves that break. When they break on the shoreline, you have to bring your audience to the conclusion. They need to know, and by the language that you use, they need to know that you're coming to an end. You summarize your story, you recap the journey, you repeat your message. And also, depending on the type of speech, if it's a business speech, you may have a call to action or a recommendation. What's the one thing that I want you to take away today? You know, for example, it could be, what's the one thing you've taken away today? It could be whatever it is. So you want to summarize that journey, repeat your message, have a call to action or a recommendation. And what I do when I'm coaching with my clients, sometimes I actually get them to start with the conclusion of their speech. Because interestingly, once you work it out, what you've actually want everyone to do by the end of it, actually then you can wrap it up and you can start at the beginning. But for the purpose of today, I just want to work through it chronologically. And then the last thing is the speech title. And I usually create that after the speech, or there'll be a phrase when I'm working with people, we'll be talking about something. Wow, that's it. That's what I want to say. And that will become the message. And then the whole speech will unfold from there. So there's a lot of information there. And I'm going to come out of the presentation for a minute. And I'm going to give you, where are we? We are perfect. We're right on time. We're 12:59. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes now to go through your speech, structure it, think it through. And then well, before we start, I'll ask Joe to turn off the recording, but I'd like a couple of people to deliver their 2-minute speech. Oh my God, I can feel that tension coming through the screen. But I'm sure there'll be one or two of you. If there isn't, that's fine. We'll move on. But I'm sure there'll be one or two of you who want to deliver your speech. So just have a think about it. And if this is, 2 minutes, it's going to be about a 20-second intro, 30 seconds for each point, up to two to 3 points, and then about a 20-second conclusion. So if you're talking about, I don't know, your local rugby club, it's not going to be, I don't want you to make it difficult. Okay. So I'm just going to leave you for a minute or so to put that together. And if anyone's got any questions they want to ask me as you're doing it, feel free to come off mute and ask me whilst we're live. Okay. I want you to be clear about the message. That's the main thing. It's about the audience. It's not about you. Okay. That's the other thing that people, when I'm coaching people, I have to kind of bash their ego out of them quite a lot at the beginning to break it down, because a lot of people think that speaking is about you. It's actually not. You're the vessel for the information that everybody wants. For example, today, this is not about me. This is about you learning about how to speak in public, isn't it? You don't really care that it's me, although I hope you do. But I'm the vessel for you to get that information. And also, when you're speaking, some tips for when you have a go is I always say to people before they go on, remember, nobody knows what you're going to say. So if you mess up or you move on or you get into a mess and you bring it back, don't worry, because no one will know what you're going to say. And that actually makes people feel quite calm. Now, how are we doing? Can you put in the chat whether you want another minute or so or whether you're ready to go? Can you also give me an idea of whether you'd like to actually deliver a speech? Who maybe, let's see. Okay, one more minute. No problem, Lisa. Thank you for responding. Anybody want to ask me something? Are you looking at something thinking, I don't really know where that should go? Oh, how does that go? Should I move that? Anyone want to ask me anything? Gosh, you are a quiet bunch today, aren't you? Normally I can't keep people quiet.
Penny, I'll say something just that you've got
Yes,
someone
Steph.
speaking.
Well, lovely, Steph. Thank you.
So I've worked with comms function as part of HR team. Like we were part of a broader corporate affairs team, and I really like the simplicity of your template because they always said, what 3 things do you want to focus on? And I have tried to utilize that in the way that I present. And if I say nothing else, because I have been in a board meeting before where I walked out and I was just a bit like, oh, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. That is absolutely the piece of advice that I've carried forward and always made sure that if I don't say anything else, what 3 things do I want them to know by the end of this presentation, or the opportunity? If I can't present, to your point, in a 2-minute speech, bish bash bosh, if that's all I've got, what do they need to hear?
That's absolutely true, Steph. And also, what this structure does, you can use this structure for either a 30-minute speech, a 1-hour keynote. You can use it for a 2-minute speech. You know that thing where people say, oh, Steph, she's running late. She's stuck in the tube. She's stuck in traffic. There's no way she's going to get there. Oh, Penny, could you come up? Could you talk to us about something? And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Okay, so the subject is this. What do they need to know? They need to know this, this, this. And literally, you can formulate, using this template, you can formulate a speech of anything that you could do in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. And as you get to more complicated techniques, you can start involving the audience. I don't advise we do that today, because one of the things about involving the audience is it can be really dangerous, and you need to know about how to deal with people. Some people just want to ask a question. Some people just want to be difficult. Some people will talk too long, and then you suddenly lost all your time. So there are a lot of techniques there. If I know that there's going to be a lot of involvement with an audience, I work on that. But you're absolutely right, Stefan. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm glad that you use, that 3 points. I bet you could give a speech at any moment, couldn't you?
I mean, some people say I never shut up, in all honesty, Penny, but
not at all.
Do you know what I find harder on a personal level is if I haven't written down in a particular, if I'm meeting a new stakeholder, as an example, for the first time, if I don't give myself the 3 things that I want to cover with them, or the bullet points, then I'll totally veer off tangent. I'll just start ad-libbing. To your point, I'll kind of lose the focus of what the conversation should have been about. So it is a really good way to harmonize your thoughts, to make sure you stay on track. And yeah,
good.
dial up my blue energy is
Brilliant.
the way that I would describe it.
Thank you for your questions. I really appreciate that. Rachel, what's the difference between a message and an opening statement? So the message is the foundational phrase that will go right the way through the speech. But the opening statement is, when I talked about, when I was saying, what if? So the opening statement is one statement that sets up the speech, but the message goes all the way through the speech. So, Rachel, I hope that's cleared that up for you. Okay, Joe, would you like to pause the record? I'll share my screen again.
Some really good comments there as well, Rachel, in the chat, applauding you. I don't know if you've seen them or not, so well done for that.
Oh, thank you.
Give me a second. I just want to get the chat.
There's a couple of questions, Penny. Do you want to?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, feel free.
Just bear with me. Let me just go back over them. Hold on a second. So Rachel's asked, what's the difference between message and opening statement?
I covered that one. I've covered that one.
Sorry, I was just trying to read it through.
Don't worry, don't
So
worry.
I've worked.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to
I've
you.
got it. I've
Right?
got it. So
Oh, got it?
Davina's asked. She's
Yeah.
worked in companies where members of the audience come across as though they're being difficult with the
Yeah.
questions, and she can't help but think it's to cause embarrassment and make you look silly. How do you deal with those individuals during the talk?
Great one. Great question. So I've got too much for today, but if you want to direct message me, I can talk you through it. But there are techniques you can use, and there are shutdown techniques you can use. So one of the things that I say to people is, oh, thank you, Joe. That was a really interesting question. I'm not actually covering that in my speech today, but I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it afterwards. Why don't you come and find me, and let's have a conversation afterwards. Now, that's one of the techniques I use. There are lots of others, but the interruptions and dealing with people, yeah, I can have if you'd like to have a separate conversation with me about that, I'm more than happy to do so. But hopefully that gives you one answer. Anything else, Joe?
There's nothing else at the minute, no.
Great. Do you want to start the recording again?
Yeah, I've done that.
Lovely. Okay. Well, look, everybody, I hope that experience has taught you that, you can aim high and become a confident, empowering speaker. It takes work, and it's not going to happen in a short session like this. But I hope you've got the principles of the key components of a speech, how to structure a speech, the importance of having a strong message, and how to weave that message through your speech. And you can use those principles to help develop your speech mastery. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of people that I've worked with. A couple of clients I've worked with. Rachel, she was the National Chair of Women in Property. When I worked with her, she had to start giving really big speeches and get right out of her comfort zone. She used my structure to help her plan her talks and her key messages. And she now speaks in front of large audiences all over the UK and actually all over the world as well. So she's gone on a really amazing journey. Then there's Hannah. She never wanted to speak, and she ended up in her industry, she ended up doing a speech competition, which was regional heats, then into a national heat, and she actually won the National Presentation Award. And she said to me she couldn't have done it without me, and she really wanted to go down that journey, but she was holding herself back in that comfort zone. But she was amazed at what happened, and the fact she won it was incredible. And then Emma, I'd like to tell you about Emma. Emma's a CEO at 60 Bricks, and she wanted to get more confident. And we worked on her delivery on how to speak really powerfully. I remember I was with her when she got a phone call asking her to go and speak in New York. And I looked at her and I said, "You're going to do it, and we're going to do it together." And we worked together, and she really developed her confidence, and now she again speaks everywhere. And I speak to her myself regularly, and she said that I'd given her that confidence to become a really powerful speaker. She has an amazing message. Some of you may even have seen her online, if you're following her. But you have the opportunity, just like all those other people. I want you to believe that you can aim high and have that success you deserve. I hope I've identified some quick wins for you. You've got that, how you want to have that understanding of the basic structure, the importance of a clear message, and you're going to think about how you create that strong opening and that strong close. And today we only dipped our toe into the water in terms of what you need to become an empowering, confident speaker. But just imagine to have the opportunity to have a real deep dive into public speaking. And you can do that if you work with me on my Aim High public speaking coaching program. You can master your craft. You can get rid of all that fear, get rid of all those filler words, all the difficulties that you experience. And Joe, there's a link, if you could put the first link into the empowering speaker call, if you could put that into the chat while I move on, that would be great. Thank you. I want you to start thinking about speaking opportunities you've got coming up, speaking opportunities you've got in the future. Maybe you're in a role and you think, oh, I'm going to have to do a lot more speaking in my role coming up, or I've been put onto a project and I'm going to be the voice of that project. Think about that. And I want you to think about, the craft of public speaking. Can I do it? Well, we've seen today that you can do it through one of our ladies that has done it. And it's not an option for you. Remember, if you want to be a strong leader, not being able to speak in public, it's not an option for you. And it's easier for you to think. There's a link in the chat there. If you click on that link, it goes straight to my calendar. Book an appointment. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. And on that call, I'm going to give you. I want you to be. I want you to be excited about it as well. I want to get rid of all that anxiety. And I just want to talk to you and see. I want to give you two things on that call. I want to help you get clarity on what you want to work on, where are your issues, and then I want you to, I'm going to help you work out some real bold actions that you need to take you on that journey of becoming a confident speaker. And then let's see if we can work together. Make sure you go to the chat and click on the link, because this is your get out of jail free card. It's your bold action call, because I want you to create that successful future. I know so many people who've been stopped in going forward in their roles because they haven't wanted to do that, because they've seen that presentations is a lot and they don't want to do it. So you have the opportunity to get over it. It's a skill that can be learned. I'm excited for you. I hope you're excited about wanting to learn. And I'm here to coach you through all that. And, who's that call for? Well, if you want to be an impactful speaker and be confident when you speak, and you want to be an influential leader, it's in today's business world, you have to be good at these communication skills. Some of the clients I'm working with at the moment, they're global clients. They're speaking all over the world. Their audiences are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that big challenge, they are stepping into it. And so I want you to think about, this call is for those of you who want to develop your mastery. If you want to work with me and develop your mastery, that's what I want to do. And I want people who are going to face their fears and get into action right now. Now, lastly, whilst you're booking your call, there's something else I want to talk to you about. Joe, if you could put the second link into the chat, that would be great. I do monthly webinars online and they're free, and you're welcome to join me. Next week, I'm talking about all things motivation. It's on Wednesday the 14th. It's at 1 o'clock. It's for 45 minutes. It's around the theory about what drives individuals' behavior at work related to motivation. Then I'm going to talk about how to create the right environment to generate high levels of motivation, because, right now people are struggling. And when I'm talking to leaders, they're telling me, I can't keep people motivated. So I'm doing this webinar to kind of help you out with that. And also, I'm going to look at the leadership behaviors that you or your team or everybody around you needs to develop so that you can motivate those around you. Joe's put that link in, so I hope you've got that. If anyone's got any questions about what they've heard today or anything you want to ask me, I'm happy to stay on at the end if there's anything you want to ask me. And just so that you know, my Aim High programs are not just for individuals. I work with organizations. I come in and I coach executive teams, senior leadership teams. I work a lot with middle level leaders right across the spectrum. Either work on a one-to-one basis, group, whatever it is. Maybe you need some support with your team, and we can work together to work something out. So for those of you who need to go, thank you very much for coming today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. And you've got my contact details there. I'm going to leave you, and Joe will close the session today. But I'd like to thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Penny, there's just a couple of questions in the chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, of
So,
course.
Amika has asked, how do they carry their audience properly as a church and event moderator?
How do they carry their church?
Their audience properly as a church and event moderator.
I'm not sure I understand that question. Could you, if you're online, can you come on and just explain to me? I don't know what you mean by carry the audience. If
Hi,
you're
Penny.
there.
Good afternoon. I don't know what time
Hello.
is it. Hi, this is America.
Hi, Amika.
Okay. Great conversation. Great time out with you. I appreciate the time you're putting into do this. Okay, so I'm part of the moderators in my church and moderate service, and of course, I want to expand it to events as well. So I would like to know basic skills that one can apply to be able to carry the audience properly and engage them, not just you talking, so they can also give you, response while you are moderating. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, I see. Yeah. What you've got to do, Amika, you've got to be able to really connect with your audience. And how do you do that? You connect with them through the stories that you're going to tell. And you bring them in and engage them through those stories. The other thing is, I want you to think about eye contact. You have to really look at people, and I do an exercise with individuals who don't like looking at people, and we stand really close together and we just look at each other. And it's a really powerful exercise to get you to overcome that. And I'm sure as a moderator, you're quite confident. But what I want you to think about is make sure that you get eye contact, and there is a way of doing it. And I can talk to you about that privately if you're interested to look at that further. But creating the right eye contact with your audience will bring them towards you. That's the idea. You want to bring them towards you. Does that help?
Maybe he's gone.
Oh, yep, don't worry.
Yeah,
That's
thank
fine.
you. I heard you.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
There's another one, Penny. So Kirsten said, thanks for the insight. We'll use these techniques in my forthcoming speech at an online event. Would also be interested in hearing about how to host effectively if you have any resources to share.
How to host in terms of an online event?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I have a whole raft of things around that. If you'd like to contact me, if everybody connects with me on LinkedIn and send me a direct message, and then let's have a conversation, or you can book a call using that link, and we can have a conversation about that. Yeah, because it's very different hosting. I've got 3 screens here, by the way. It's like people come into my studio and like, my God, this is like NASA, So you need the technology to work, and you need to be able to be ready for when everything goes wrong as well. So yeah, I can talk to you about that. Anything else, Joe?
No, there's a couple of people saying they couldn't see the link for the webinar, so I'm just reposting that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And there was someone else.
If you can't get the link, just send me a direct message and I can send it to you as well.
And there's
but it is there. It's there.
People asked for the workbook again, so I just posted the workbook. And
please feel to share that, share on your social media about today, because it's my mission to share all this with everybody. That's what I want to be. I want to be a contribution, because everyone should have the opportunity to speak in public and feel confident about it.
Okay, so I'm just going to do the close, Penny. If anyone's got anything else in the chat, then we can just cover them at the end. So I'd just like to say thanks very much to Penny for having such an engaging session. Loads of really good comments there, so thanks very much. I'll send some correspondence out this afternoon to everyone that's signed up for the event and put a post on LinkedIn. So if you'd like a copy of the recording, then or the handbook again, then please put a comment on LinkedIn. Our next event is on Tuesday, the 27th of February, called Imposter Syndrome. Details about how to sign up for this will be included in the email. If anyone is recruiting, we've also got accountancy recruit, FD recruit and exec recruit within the group. But otherwise, I'd just like to say a massive thanks to Penny for your time and effort in putting the event together, and also to everybody for signing in. I hope it's been really useful. Thank you.